Welcome back to another F1 News video, everyone. Today we'll discuss the freshly unveiled Mercedes W14B concept and what it implies for the team's hopes of retaliating against Red Bull. The Mercedes-AMG F1 team was predicted to build a car capable of competing with the dominant 2022 champions, Max Verstappen and Red Bull, in 2023 after a tumultuous 2022 Formula One season. As you may be aware, Mercedes had difficulty with its W14 vehicle this season, built on the same thin side pod design as their W13 vehicle from the previous year. Because more parts and radiators could fit inside the pods, the design was intended to improve packaging and cooling while lowering the drag and weight of the vehicle. However, Fernando Alonso made a positive career turn by switching to Aston Martin, which changed its development philosophy last year to match Red Bull. This year, they released their own design brand thanks to hiring Dan Fallows, a former Red Bull head of aerodynamics. Fernando can use the water slide side pods to slide to podiums and possibly victory in this configuration. What happened this season with the designs? Nonetheless, this season has been a series of reflections on the choices made to advance their zero-pod side pod philosophy, which in 2022 had untapped potential because they could not operate their car at low ride heights, in the words of Toto Wolff. Let's say that Toto has grown tired of being infatuated with untapped potential and wants Brackley to provide something that results in triumphs. He has sent his former gunner James Allison back for this. Fortunately, this design also had several issues with balance and aerodynamics. The airflow around the automobile was less regulated and more prone to separation and turbulence due to the thin side pods. As the primary source of downforce for these automobiles, the floor and the rear wing, their performance was impacted. The space beneath the car, the floor, causes the low pressure zone that pulls the vehicle to the ground. The rear wing is the sizable horizontal flap at the back of the vehicle that forces the vehicle downward due to its shape and angle. A constant smooth airflow is necessary for both components to function properly. Correctly. Compared to the Red Bull RB19, which has a more conventional broad side pod shape that enables better airflow management around the car, the W14 car has been weak in stability and downforce. The wide side pods create a clear distinction between the airflow that goes around the lower half of the side pods and feeds the diffuser, and the airflow that goes over the side pods and into the water slides. The curved portion of the floor at the back that speeds airflow under the car and increases suction is known as the diffuser, which is an incredibly potent aero element, especially on 2022 models. The airflow is guided over the top surface of the diffuser ramp and into the beam wing by the curved sections on top of the side pods or water slides. W14 versus AMR23 side pod analysis. The surface airflow lines and surface pressure distribution for the CFD simulated W14 and AMR23 type models are shown in the image below. The wide side pods split the incoming air into two zones, one of which circles the side pod's lower half, red arrows, and the other of which circles the side pod's upper half, the black arrows. The diffuser is continuously fed by the airflow indicated by the red arrows, which also keeps losses from the rear tire contact patch from penetrating the diffuser. The primary performance limiter of the diffuser is often these losses. The airflow that follows the black arrows passes over the side pods and into the water slides that emerge from the diffuser ramp's top surface, providing flow to the beam wing and aiding in the diffuser's effectiveness. Yet the W14 philosophy makes no such distinction when it comes to flow when the geometry is used to direct the airflow to a particular area. Instead, it relies on vortex structures and pressure differences off-body to direct airflow to specific areas, which is always less forgiving to changes in the car's steering, yawing, rolling, and pitching attitudes. The rear wing's counterpart in producing greater downforce is the beam wing, the smaller horizontal flap above it. The rear of the car will have more suction and grip thanks to the RB19's more aggressive water slide design, which feeds more air into the diffuser and the rear wing. Effective undercut side pods versus W14 style mid-wing side pods. The side pod with an undercut is seen on AMR23. The zone of high static pressure is created behind the front tire by the large side pod with undercuts. As a result, a significant amount of outwash is left behind on the tire and floor edges. This outwash pushes the tire away from the bodywork and the floor, preventing the floor and diffuser from absorbing the losses. The primary benefit of this brute force system is that it maintains consistency throughout all car attitudes as it travels around the course. It performs even better in yaw conditions, typically when teams experience difficulties in front wheel wake management. However, the W14 side pods depend on the mid-wing's tip vortex and pressurization. How much more intense is this pressurization than the one resulting from the undercut philosophy? We don't know how they would line up in reality, but our simulations indicate that they do. Moreover, the tip vortex from the mid-wing outwashes the tire weight. Different aero philosophy. F1 car aerodynamics is dominated by vortices, which means that the interaction of several vortices from different sources defines the final flow field. These aerodynamic structures are more than minor elements. They form the car's aerodynamic philosophy, or how the airflow moves around it. The aerodynamic mechanism that can be most easily observed through our simulations is the variation in vortex distributions. You can see that the Aston Martin on the left has two main counter-rotating structures whose effective flow vector ends up delivering high-velocity air from the outside to the back of the car along the side pod walls. This process may be the reason for Aston Martin's exceptionally steady performance this year. Three vortices can be seen on the Mercedes to the right, two identical to those on the Aston Martin, though they are weaker, and a stronger third vortex originating from the mid-wing tips close to the chassis. Combined, they may create an efficient upward flow vector as illustrated, but it is inconsistent in delivering high-energy air to the car's back. Given the extent to which Aston Martin and Mercedes share internal components, Mercedes should pay attention to what Aston Martin has achieved with its side pod concept update for 2023. Mercedes' straight-line speed immediately increased in 2022, courtesy of the new rear wing introduced at the Bahrain Grand Prix, employing the new generation of rear wings. It is no coincidence that one of the vehicles with the highest drag is an Aston Martin, which has a rear end that more closely matches the 2022 Mercedes W13. Last year, Elliott and Andrew Shovlin regularly said that the narrow side pod project object simulations were far faster than they had anticipated on the track. But when the strengths of the Mercedes and Aston Martin cars are combined, the potential is evident. The car was in a flexible setup, but this was not the case, and purposing led it to lose downforce, necessitating the usage of a too-stiff suspension system whenever the vehicle was raised even a little amount off the ground. Mercedes has concluded that their W14 concept has run its course, and that they must make a significant adjustment to compete with Red Bull for the championship. For the upcoming race at Imola, they have decided to debut a new W14B concept with a completely revised side pod design that is more in line with Red Bull's strategy. The future of Mercedes. The W14B concept is expected to have wider side pods with a smoother undercut that will divide the airflow into two distinct regions, one going around the lower half of the side pods and feeding the diffuser, and one going over the side pods and into the water slides. This should enhance the efficiency of the back wing and the floor, which provide the majority of the downforce on these cars. Nevertheless, almost all improvements won't be made before the Italian Grand Prix in Imola. While the bodywork and suspension geometry of the W14B concept will also alter, the side pods are the crucial component that will make or break this new package. Mercedes hopes that this concept tweak will improve their performance across various tracks and environmental factors, allow them to utilize their potential powertrain better, and improve tire management. Will this paradigm shift be sufficient to catch up to Red Bull, or will Mercedes suffer from too little too late? The W14B concept's performance on the track at Imola will have to wait, but one thing is certain: Mercedes is not going down without a fight. This concludes today's video. I sincerely hope you found it entertaining and insightful. If you did, thanks for watching, and consider giving my channel a like for more F1 news and analysis. Please let us know your thoughts about the Mercedes W14B concept and how it will impact the championship race in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.